All right, guys. I wasn't going to do this, but I think I'm being told to do this. Um, a lot of people are going to be saying, well, it's the end of the year. At midnight tonight, it is going to be January 1st. That we haven't seen the reverse rapture. We haven't seen anything of the sort. We haven't seen any God hand movements at all. Guys, there's been a few people have been talking about this. We're in, I guess it's called the Gregorian calendar. 14 days were removed from this calendar. Days. If they restored those 14 days, we'd go back to the Julian calendar. Technically speaking, according to the calendar Jesus Christ used when he walked the earth, we're not on that calendar. We are on a made-up calendar. So what we think is the first of the year, go 14 days further, and that's where we'll be at in 14 days. So between now and January 14th, I would say, is when you're going to see God's hand move. I don't know if God's hand's going to move tomorrow or another day from there. I don't know. But technically speaking, we have 14 more days of 2025. So you have to understand that we're not quite there yet. And a lot of people are going to be saying, well, it didn't happen on my clock. My time's ticking and nothing's happening. That means God's not real. No, that just means that you're on the wrong schedule. That's all that means. You bought the wrong ticket for the wrong time. To put it bluntly. Because I know this is going to get blown up all over the place relatively soon. And I think this needs to be addressed before it blows up. But we're not on God's calendar anymore. We're on a different calendar, and that changes some things. So, because apparently there was a pope that one day everybody went to bed, the next day it was 14 days later. They just magically removed 14 days out of the calendar all of a sudden. You can go look this up. Type in Gregorian calendar and Jubilee calendar, or whatever it's called. I think it's a Jubilee calendar. Go look that stuff up. That's what's going on. This is why we are always expecting something and then we think it's late when it happens. It's the fact that our minds have been messed with way too much. This is not the end of the year. This is the end of the calendar year for the calendar that we're in. So I'm just trying to get you guys to wrap your mind around that. Give it about 14 days and we'll get there. But God still has time. And this is the thing. God made the time, not man. So right now we're on a man-made calendar, not God's calendar. Okay? And no, God didn't just beam this into my head and I just magically know this. I've listened to other prophets. I've listened to other people talk about this stuff. I've researched it myself. Look this stuff up, guys. I didn't have a magic frog talking to me, telling me this stuff that actually was going on. Okay? These are things that you can look up and you can go through and do your own data research on and all these things. Like a lot of the holidays we celebrate are pagan holidays. Excuse me. They were doing some pretty messed up stuff on these pagan holidays. So when you celebrate those holidays, you may be celebrating something evil and demonic that you don't realize you're celebrating. So research what you are celebrating. All right? Sorry, I saw a salt truck and I'm like, it's almost 40 degrees outside. Where are they salting the highways and byways and stuff? That just threw me off. Maybe the temperature's dropping tonight. I don't know. But anyway, guys, the best way to fool somebody is to mess with time and space. And that's what the devil has done. Messed with time and space. The greatest lie that has been told is the devil doesn't exist. That if tomorrow has never been written, then how does God know when you're coming to see him? If you believe there is no such thing as a coincidence, then you have to believe that everything is preordained. You stubbing your toe tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. or 6:01 a.m., that's preordained. You burning your hand with a cup of coffee driving to work at 7:02, preordained. There are going to be things that are going to happen to you, whether you like it or not, and there's nothing you can do to change it. There are things that's happened to you in your life to prepare you for what's coming. Now, I've also heard, this is just starting, there's a flutter online talking about some kind of virus ravaging through I think it was India or Africa. I can't remember which. But there is talks of a virus ravaging through there that is worse than anything else that they've seen. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. During the COVID scare and in all the other crap that was going on, I never took injections. I don't believe in those. I don't believe in vaccines. I don't believe in that stuff. And this has a little bit to do with it, but the majority of it is if I believe in God, I don't need to believe in the vaccines. That's 90% of it. The other 10% is this. My mom told me it'd be good if I went and got a flu vaccine. So I went and got it one year. I was like 22, I think. She's like, it'll build your immunity up. And I was like, okay. They came within a day of admitting me into the hospital with full-blown pneumonia from taking that shot. My mother told me it's because I already had something that caused the reaction. It was already pre in my system. Now, here's where I have a problem with this statement. You might be right, you might be wrong, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not God. I can't say yes or no to that. But here's what I have to say about this. They gave a kid, a track star kid, 16, 17 years old, a vaccine for COVID. Okay? So my mom was saying that I already had the flu, or I already had contracted it, already had it, whatever. It's a pre-existing condition. Okay? This track star kid took the COVID vaccine and died of his blood coagulating in his system. Track star kid. I guess that was a pre-existing condition, I guess. The injection he got caused him to die. Your blood does not coagulate on its own. It only does it when you die. This kid died from his blood coagulating inside of himself. It gummed up his heart so much, he died. And my mom said it was a pre-existing condition. Really? That does not make sense to me. But in the medical field, you're told to tell everybody this, so there cannot be any blame on them. This is why I do not take vaccines. Until you can tell me 110% what is in the vaccine, down to the molecule level, I'm not taking it. Because a lot of the vaccines, do you know how they actually make it to where it will go into your system and not be rejected and cause all kinds of problems? What's the closest DNA that there is to human beings? Swine. Pigs. They culture the virus through pig DNA, splice it, take it, cultivate it, and inject you with pig DNA. Do you know that actually alters your DNA? They've actually proven that it alters your DNA. Not by much, but a little bit. There's a lot of issues that are going on. Now, what I'm understanding is 2026 is going to be the year of arrests. That's what I'm hearing. I've heard that for the last year, 2 years. Oh, it's next year. It's next year. We are at a breaking point where people are fixing to, excuse me, spicy lunch. People are fixing to give up faith on the entire government system, the judicial system, and you're fixing to have a full-blown retaliation. We're fixing to have another civil war. If things can't get on track to where people are being arrested for the crimes they've committed. I understand they have to show you all the fraud and stuff going on, like the stuff that's going on in Minnesota and Ohio and Massachusetts, I think. The daycare fraud system that Muslims are doing. And Miss Omar went into office with $48,000 in her account, and now she's worth $38 million. In 8 years, 12 years, something like that. Because she was around during the George Floyd riots. So that was 2019, 2020, something like that. So she was around a little bit before then. So, yeah. This is the problem with politicians. They're more worried about their bank accounts than they are the people they're supposed to be fighting for. And then when you call them out, they want you arrested. For defamation, for slander, for all these other things. I didn't realize telling the truth was illegal. But anyway, guys, that's what I got on here about. What originally was to tell you guys. There's going to be a lot of talk about, oh, well, it's 2026 according to my calendar. God's hand didn't move. We didn't have the 3 days of darkness. We didn't have reverse rapture. We didn't have nothing. God's fake. God's this. God's, blah. We're still not done with 2025. You have 14 days in January to account for. So, God said it's going to happen in 2025. It's going to happen in 2025. Just not our 2025. Okay? So comprehend it, understand it, and make sure you're not making judgment calls and saying God didn't do this, God didn't do that, when God did. He's going to do it before the end of the year. The end of the year is not today. It's not at midnight tonight. Calm down. We're getting there on God's calendar, not yours. Not this man-made calendar. All right? So, the faster we get that, the faster we understand that, the better off we're going to be. All right? God bless you. God loves you. Have a happy new year. And be safe, guys. God loves you. Remember to pray.